Egotastic FunTime.
Hey gang, I'm JP and welcome back to Talking The Orville on Egotastic FunTime. Today we're gonna have a great time talking about Dr. Finn's personal life taking an unexpected turn, Bortus accepting Gordon's advice to help put a little more magnum in his Mocklin grooming habits, and Isaac discovers if you want to win a woman's heart, you're gonna have to make it rain. In a fun yet heartwarming episode full of surprises, we travel down Robot Lover's Lane to find out if a human and an artificial life form can find romance in a happy refrain. Oh damn, that totally rhymed. Nice. In a happy refrain, Dr. Finn realizes that she might be developing feelings for Isaac, who has become an important part of her and her children's lives. Isaac, in turn, appears to have taken a special interest in Clare, noticing when she makes changes to her hair and bringing her gifts like an anti-hangry banana ray.
I have noticed your tendency to become cantankerous after 1600 hours when you have not eaten.
The crew gather to watch young Ty's piano recital, which goes well, much to the delight of Yaphet.
Seriously, I thought this was gonna suck, but he's really good.
Afterwards, at a party in the mess hall, Clare meets Isaac's gaze, who's standing all alone looking at her in a totally not creepy way. She goes over to have a drink with him, or have a drink near him because he's a robot who can't eat, and the two of them talk the night away. Having no one else to confide in, Clare goes to Kelly's office, admitting that she's falling for Isaac. Kelly thinks she should go for it, but be careful not to get hurt. Clare works up the courage to ask Isaac out on a date to the Union Symphony, and being that it would help him understand another aspect of human relations, Isaac agrees. In order to be better prepared for what he considers an experiment, Isaac goes to engineering to ask John for advice on his date with Clare, news of which he and Gordon handle like gentlemen.
Oh my god, you guys! Claire and Isaac are going on a date. This is so insane. I can't even believe it.
Date night arrives and Isaac, dressed in his summer linens, picks Claire up to take her to the Union Symphony concert, where things start off light. Later in the simulator, Isaac treats his lady fair to a recreation of her favorite restaurant on Earth, so they can chat and get to know each other. But Claire soon finds out that there's nothing for Isaac to learn because he's already downloaded everything about her into his memory banks. Realizing the date was not successful due to his inability to be spontaneous or even kiss Claire, Isaac once again reaches out to John for advice so that he can give Claire more of what she needs in a partner. A second date is attempted and Isaac creates a program to become a real boy so that he can kiss her. Then Claire shows Isaac exactly what she needs. Believing his experiment in human dating to now be complete, Isaac takes even more of John's advice in the hopes of ending the relationship by becoming undesirable and tricking Claire into breaking up with him.
I am sorry you are upset. Perhaps you are on your period.
Get out!
The next day, Isaac returns to the bridge to find out the entire crew is angry with him for hurting Claire's feelings, and that he's no longer welcome in her and her children's lives.
Weird how some guys can treat a woman that way and somehow just not be bothered by it. Takes a special kind of garbage person, if you ask me.
Later, the crew is having fun in the sun, studying a red dwarf, accompanied by a nearby white dwarf, which kind of sounds racist, and Isaac makes a calculation error while analyzing the orbital velocity of the binary system. During a self-diagnostic scan to try to figure out why he made a mistake, Isaac learns that his subroutines have adjusted over time to his interactions with Claire, and those adjustments are now interfering with his programming now that she's gone. Isaac decides he wants to fix his relationship with Claire but doesn't know how, so Ed tells him to take everything he knows about her and find a creative way to apologize. The Orville finishes their study of the binary star system and begins heading to Outpost 30. When Claire arrives, thinking the captain has summoned her, but it turns out Isaac is the one who called her to the bridge so he can try to win her back. While playing Singing in the Rain over the comm and adjusting the environmental controls, he apologizes for his behavior and lets her know he wants to try again, that he functions more efficiently with her in his life.
You're saying you're better with me than without me?
Affirmative, Doctor.
Claire takes him back, much to everyone's approval, and the two of them set off on a new course in their lives, together. Bortus, on the other hand, had to go meet Rick and TC at the King Kamehameha Club because Higgins is missing. There is almost no point in me explaining to you how much I love this episode, because from what I've seen, my praise of a happy refrain would just be a small drop of California dew dropped from a helicopter into the ocean, because everyone seems to have absolutely adored this episode. Well, I mean, there's a few of you who didn't really care for it, which is totally understandable.
Because you're monsters!
By now, I'm sure you guys know that when it comes to an episode of the Orville, I'm always gonna love it. I'm a super fan. I had to really think about this for a long time, because A Happy Refrain is a very different episode than what we're used to. It's a big tonal shift. Sure, it takes place in a sci-fi show, but it really was just a nice, out-of-the-box romantic comedy. It could have taken place anywhere. This might be my favorite episode, but I can't say definitely, because it is such a unique kind of story for the show, and it really could have been placed anywhere within the series and have worked. It's a standalone episode, so as far as favorite, I don't think there's any fair comparison because the tone is so different, so I'm just going to put this episode in a category of its own. But wow, I loved this episode. All of the parallels to romantic comedy tropes translated and put into the perspective of an artificial life form was a lot of fun for me because, and FYI, I've been a fan of romantic comedies like my entire life. It's my guilty pleasure, though I don't feel guilty about it. I mean, it's even my favorite category on Pornhub, except the word comedy is spelled a little bit different and it's actually pronounced homantic. Oh, that reminds me. Did I erase my browser history today? I'll be right back. Now, I called this unlikely union between Claire and Isaac last year during my review of Into the Fold. It seemed like a possibility to me for the two of them to hook up from what I saw in that episode. Then in the season 2 premiere, Jaloja, it seemed even more likely. I really wasn't surprised in the slightest that they decided to go on a date together, but what absolutely did surprise me in a delightful way, because I never would have predicted this ever, is that it all worked out in the end. First off, what a joyful thing to happen. They fall in love. Well, Claire falls in love. We still don't know what Isaac is doing. He's a robot. But, you know, they fall in love. It goes awry, as we figured it would. But then he wins her back in the end. In the rain. On the bridge of a spaceship. And now they're officially together? That's insane, and they pulled it off. Going forward, Claire and Isaac are a thing, and I don't think they'll break up either. I mean, you don't have a singing in the rain finale like that and not have it work out. I want to talk about something that was really special in this episode, not just as being great for the story, but it was great for fans of the series. We actually, for the first time ever, and now I'm thinking it won't be the last time, we actually get to see Mark Jackson, who plays Isaac, in the flesh. Throughout the entire series, I always wondered what Mark was doing under all of that gear when he was playing Isaac. What was his face doing? What was going on behind his eyes? Because Isaac doesn't have facial expressions. We only have his robotic voice and the tone to go by. And seeing Mark play the character without a mask helped me understand Isaac in a whole new way. He could have changed his programming during the simulation to mimic a more human man with charm and wit and a smile, but that's not what they did. He looked human, but he was still Isaac, and because of that, we could see that he's not rude or arrogant at all. He's innocent. He doesn't understand. That really endeared the character to the audience in this episode, and I think that's really going to pay off going forward. As much as we've always loved Isaac, there was always that barrier, you know, that like, yeah, we really like him, but he's still just a robot. His face is just a lifeless helmet with two lights shining from it. Not anymore.
It's still real to me, damn it!
I really think we'll be seeing more of Mark in the future. I mean, at least when we have adventures in the simulator. Oh, what about that holographic disguise thingy from last season? The biggest surprise in this episode, at least to me, was Yaphet using the same idea with the simulator to try and woo Claire into his holographic arms. Since Yaphet got a bit more than he hoped for last season in Cupid's Dagger when it comes to Claire, we haven't really had a follow-up since then to see if he was even still interested in her. Well, now we know the jelly still wants what the jelly wants.
So whiskey, my lady?
When Norm Macdonald showed up at the bar as Yaphet in human form, I screamed out loud in my apartment, you guys, okay? I didn't expect it at all. Let me know how you guys reacted when you saw Norm Macdonald show up on the show to get Claire on the rebound. Also, what a creep.
What'd I say?
Claire's falling for Isaac pretty much turned out to be exactly what I predicted. She wasn't crazy, she knew exactly what she was doing and didn't fool herself into thinking that he somehow had emotions deep down in there somewhere. She knew, for the most part, what she was getting into. They got along. She enjoyed his company. He's great with the kids. She appreciated his truthfulness. I really like that she went to Kelly for advice too. I mean, I could really see the two of them beginning to form a nice friendship, even if Kelly wasn't willing to admit that she does day drink sometimes. Hey, did you guys notice that the picture hanging on the wall of Kelly's office right there? Yeah, that one. Did you notice that that's the album cover to Escape by Journey? Boom, trivia tidbit. We also get to see a friendship blossom between Claire, Tala, and Kelly. They're a group of friends who are now confiding in each other. They're shooting the shiz. I was really impressed with Tala when we met her last week, but still wasn't sure how she was going to fit in with the rest of the crew. With this episode now, I'm certain she's going to be a great addition to the dynamic between all of these characters. Now, I am interested, though, to see how she fits in with John and Gordon when she takes Alara's place during those mess hall lunch conversations. The bowling alley scene was awesome, but I was sad to see Gordon as the third wheel hanging out with Hot Pants Ensign Turco and that person who she wrongfully chooses to spend time with. What's his name? Oh yeah, John Lamar. Come on, boo, lose the zero and get with the egotastic hero. Hi. A Happy Refrain is no doubt heavily inspired by the Next Generation episode In Theory, where Lieutenant Desora, who just got out of a relationship, falls for Data. And he develops a relationship program so the two of them can start dating. To Data, it's an experiment in his endeavor to become more human. But it all ends badly when Desora finally comes to her senses and realizes that Data isn't capable of ever really caring for her because he's a machine. Similar to A Happy Refrain, In Theory also has a musical performance in it, a kiss on the cheek, and like when Claire goes to Kelly for advice, Data also seeks advice from the crew. Everyone's saying he should maybe think twice before proceeding. Well, maybe not everyone.
I think you should pursue it. First of all, she's a beautiful woman.
In Theory was always one of my favorite Data episodes, but of course, things between him and Lieutenant Desora didn't work out. Unlike in A Happy Refrain, the relationship actually worked. As an audience, we were left on a high. It was really lovely, and from everything I see you guys saying, it seems we're all pretty much in agreement. High praises all around. The title, A Happy Refrain, is once again, which seems to be a theme this season, taken from a song. The song, of course, being from Singing in the Rain. The Union Symphony was comprised of the musicians that play for the show, and the conductor was portrayed by Mark Graham, who is the head of music preparation for the Orville, Family Guy, American Dad, Avengers Infinity War, and Endgame, and the upcoming Star Wars Episode 9, and about a million other things of which you have heard of. I found it interesting that this episode didn't really have any subplots. It was all about Isaac and Claire's love story. Bortus having a mustache was hilarious, and the dwarf stars were pretty cool, but they weren't really plots as much as they were just added splashes of color to keep things going. Though I can't wait to see what other things Gordon gets Bortus to try out this season.
Dude, I'm such a jerk. It's ridiculous.
The scene where Claire goes to ask Isaac out on a date, he tells her that he was just going over and improving upon Dr. Aronov's temporal equations. Dr. Aronov being the scientist from the pilot episode Old Wounds, where we learn about the anti-banana ray. Does this mean that Isaac is learning about time travel? Is this something that will come in handy later in the season? If you were wondering how they were able to make it rain on the bridge at the end of the episode without completely destroying the set, well, they used movie magic. Having the actors sit in front of a green screen while water poured down on them that they then used to chroma key onto the bridge. During his music recital, Ty was playing Tristesse by Freddie Chopin on the piano. A Happy Refrain was written and directed by Seth MacFarlane, and the music was composed by Andrew Cotty. It's a fun look of what it takes to make a relationship work as well as not work, how we can better ourselves by thinking of others, and reminds us that we sometimes have to be creative in our pursuits and not just run away and hide when it starts to rain, but, live in the moment and go out there and sing in it. But don't just take my word for it. Captain Picard, hit it.
singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again.
Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today, and I talked about it. How about you? Did a happy refrain melt your gooey fill center, making your eyes geloja down your face? Do you think this unlikely pairing has what it takes to go the distance? Did any of you wonder if Isaac's holographic junk had any trouble fitting in Dr. Finn's trunk? No, not in a dirty way, you perverts. I'm talking about butt stuff. You can let me know what you think by joining the conversation below.
Today's episode of Egotastic FunTime was brought to you by Under the Skyway, the first in a new sci-fi series set in a cyberpunk world, where the line between humanity and technology are beginning to blur. Follow Jackson Bell as he chases down every lead to find a stolen prototype while being pushed to his limits, from corporate high-rises to the city gutters. Book one of a series of thrilling adventures by James K. Douglas that offers hope for a better future, political commentary, humor, and enough 80s pop culture references to make all your times egotastic fun times. Click on the link in the description below to support this amazing ego sponsor, and don't forget to leave a review on Amazon to help Under the Skyway soar through the ranks.
Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and supporting my stupid show. It really does mean the world to me. I'll see you very soon, and as always, I hope all your times are egotastic fun times. Love you, bye-bye!
Egotastic fun time, we're gonna have a great time. Egotastic fun time, give me all your money. Give him all your money. You will find it funny. Just give me money. I love money. Give him all your 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 money.